It's Michelle Hartley here, and I am going to be talking to you about the learning environment as part of my literacy program research and learning project. I'm going to go through it quickly because my 2 test runs were quite a bit more than 5 minutes, so I'm going to try and go through it pretty fast. So just as an introduction, I'm on the same journey that I'm sure most of you are on. I'm at the end of my degree in elementary education. Um, just as part of a personal background, I have zero memories of learning to read and write, and I didn't really fully understand the process until I was actively teaching kindergarten in a rural school. I quickly learned how important literacy development was, and my personal beliefs for a literacy-rich classroom are that it should be a setting that encourages and supports speaking, listening, reading, and writing. I think we should all take into account differentiation levels and accessibility when we're developing or setting up our classroom. I think that's really crucial. I think that students should have access to a variety of authentic texts through print and digital media. I wouldn't have said digital 15 years ago, but it's the world we live in today, and students are accessing a lot of the text they read with a device. So I think having exposure to that in the classroom is important. I think they should get to choose books, just like they would at a library. I think leveled readers or leveled books have a place in the classroom, but I also believe that students should get to choose. I think that is what's going to boost their enjoyment of reading. Moving on, I label everything in my classroom, the walls, the tubs, the charts, the centers, everything is labeled. Lots of exposure to different words. I think if you have things in your classroom, they should be put there in a functional and natural way. If it's something you don't use or that seems unnatural to your program, you should get rid of it. I think it should be warm, welcoming, and inviting, and although that's not explicitly tied to literacy development, I feel like anytime your classroom is warm, welcoming, and inviting, then it automatically is more engaging and makes kids feel more free to be creative and to share. I think having family and the community in your classroom as often possible as part of your literacy program will just be great for the students that you're teaching. They'll be better off for it. I think that your seating arrangement should encourage student interaction and engagement with each other. I think time and space should be thoughtfully planned out. I think that your environment should foster a child's development of interest and enjoyment in books and reading. Super important. I think it should provide opportunities for children to interact with text and print. I think it should nurture students' emergent reading and skills. I think it should expand their knowledge of books and language. And I'm going to go through these quickly. They're just things a classroom should have. Makerspace, literacy centers and tubs, class library, have a calm atmosphere, comfortable seating, dramatic play area, reading nooks, writing area. There's many things. I created this classroom a couple of years ago for another class that Robin was teaching, and I have used it with little or no change ever since, because it quite literally contains everything that I want in my room. So I'm going to move through these quickly just to show you where things are. We've got the anchor charts and the accessibility and the makerspace and the literacy tubs and the comfortable seating and the library and the dramatic play area and different differentiation tools, and a writing center. This is a schedule I've used in the past many times. It's my go-to. I might tweak it a little bit here and there, but it has a solid 3 hours of literacy instruction. Up here it says 3+ hours because these morning tubs here oftentimes, I mean, I try and put math activities and literacy activities in those morning tubs as students are arriving and, you know, moving their lunch clothespin, and I'm taking attendance. Those morning tubs are about 30% math and 70% literacy, so it's a good way to add a few more minutes if you want to. I included 2 slides on the modes of reading and writing because those 2 sections of the book really struck me, and then as I was doing this presentation, I was like, you know, if you are going to follow that model, you better make sure that you've created space to do it. If you have a cold, hard desk and a cold, hard chair for each student individually to sit at, you know, that's not a great space to do cooperative reading or read alouds. It's not a great space to do cooperative writing at all. Like, you need places where they can collaborate or sit together to do those things. So make sure you have the spaces for them. And this is what my ideal classroom looks like in the real world. This is not my classroom, but these images are stolen from other teachers. I made this one big because I loved it. I've always had a writing center, and it's had stationery and pens and pencils and markers and envelopes, you name it. But I love this one because it's got a typewriter, like an old school typewriter, and I think that kids would love that. I also love that the drawers of the desk are labeled with what's inside. And of course, we have the book bins with students' names on them that you can rotate books through often. And that's it. Last slide is just some references. And that's the end. Thank you so much for watching my presentation, and I hope everybody has a great winter break. Bye.